uh, man, that just sparked so much, and I think that really created a true identity for the brand because we were naming beers after, like, this hip hop nerdum shit. Like, no some
Yeah.
people had no idea what we were talking about.
Yeah. It's
The
like
only
if
real
you know,
ones
you
knew,
know. Yeah.
and then even when we re-released the beers during COVID, we, like, branded them towards those references, so now
Hmm.
it even became even more nostalgic,
Yeah.
and even that alone was, like, we were turning non-beer drinkers into beer drinkers just because they had, like, a Pharrell reference, like
Yeah.
Neptunes or a De La Soul sticker, and they're like, "Oh, I'm getting this," and it was just like, "Yo, this is actually that conversation we had years ago.
Mm.
This is now, I think, what we didn't know we wanted to get here, but
Hmm.
this is actually what we should be doing."
Now, here in the cut, we challenge our guests to finish a tub of ice cream before the end of the conversation. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Cool Table. My name is Adriel Smiley, aka AdrielSmiley.com, aka Adriel Smiley Official, aka The Godfather. Now, if you want to hear the radio show, you can hear us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 1280 a.m. in Toronto, metradio.ca. Now, in the cut, we challenge our guests to finish a tub of ice cream before the end of the conversation. Joining us for the first time, a living legend, Dan from Laylow.
What up?
I don't like you laughing at
Living legend, I mean, I appreciate it.
I don't like you laughing at living legend,
That's
but
nice, I mean,
we
thank you for having me.
appreciate
Glad
you.
to be at the cool table finally.
All of our ice cream for season 3 is brought to us by Eva's Chimneys. Can you tell us about the flavor that you chose, and what do you think your chances are of getting this ice cream
I,
all the way finished?
so I thought about this for a while. I overthought this a bit. Whoa, okay, so, I don't know how I'm gonna do, but, I like apple pie and ice cream together.
Hmm.
I thought about the brownie, and I didn't wanna, like I didn't wanna, like, fall over, here at this podcast, so I think that I'm trying to go less sugar, but I know
Mm.
there's gonna be sugar in this, but we're gonna see. Apple pie is, like, my go-to at Thanksgiving, so it's a family show, so let's do this.
Yeah, apple pie I think is probably one of the best pairings with ice cream in general.
Yeah,
Like I think if you do a power rankings of things you go with ice cream, apple pie is near the top,
it's pretty dope,
right?
and also someone put me on a slice of cheese on apple pie with the ice cream. I know that sounds crazy, but don't knock it until you
Nah,
try it.
I'm not jacking that.
It's that's what I said.
A slice of cheese?
I was like, "I'm not doing it," and then I
Can,
did, I was like,
can it be any cheese?
"I guess so." Can I start?
Go
Yeah.
for it. A slice of cheese.
Oh, this is bomb.
I'm definitely trying that. What's the next family food event coming up? Family food holiday?
What's next? Well, I guess it's, summertime now, so
4th of July?
yeah, 4th of July,
I guess
Canada Day?
Canada Day. Yeah, Canada Day when we get that.
Yeah, this is really good.
You know what? I'm going away for a conference in a couple of weeks. I'm assuming some event there will have cheesecake,
Yeah,
and so I'll ask for. They'll have cheese and charcuterie, and I'll.
I'm just saying it's one of those things, you don't really realize it works until you try it, and
Mhm.
it was amazing. I don't know.
I,
Hot apple pie, literally, like, thin slice of cheddar, just, like, let it melt on top. It's crazy.
that's kind of nuts, but I'm sure. I'm sure it's great.
I didn't invent it. I'm just saying I tried it, and it changed me. I was like, "Okay.
I'm giving you the credit.
Hey, this is actually really good."
No,
I
big
don't know
shot.
if I'll finish it. I don't eat a lot of ice cream, but
Mm,
I'm
you're making a dent at
pretty slim.
least. Let's go back as far as we can. Okay, let's go pre Laylo.
Mm.
Okay. What were you doing when you had the idea for Laylo? Like, where were you at in life? What were you doing at that time?
In that time, like, was man, that was, like, almost 10 years ago. Like, 10 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, I was working in a brewery,
Mm-hmm.
but just, like, as a GM. I never really knew much about the beer world. I just kinda got hired there 'cause, more of, like, my marketing and, just kinda social skills of, creating a new space and helping a place off the map. But I met a lot of great people there. Um, But at the same time, in my life, I was a musician, so I still am a musician, and I was making music for, man, forever. I mean, since I was, like, 16. So I kinda, like, played a lot with a few bands, then played some social like,
Mhm,
solo gigs, um, and then, that industry in general is just always something that was like, it supplemented time as an artist, so,
mhm.
that was why there are so many creatives in the kitchen and the bars, and, we're all just doing that to just, it's the easiest job, like, "I got a gig,
Yeah.
can you cover?" And that was kinda what we all did, so everyone in there was always doing something cool. Um, but yeah, so I was just doing that, and then when I started working there, I kinda started seeing the idea that a lot of these breweries are very, cookie cutter. They're
Mhm,
all very similar.
mhm.
They all listen to Mumford& and Sons and, Coldplay, and I started just kinda seeing the cliches really strongly and the clientele, and, I was like, "Man, this place would be so cool if we could just play some different music."
Mhm,
And then I met my business partner, Colin, at the same brewery that I worked at, and we would go to a bar after every night, and we'd close up, and the bar across the street, which I'll shout out, Hole in the Wall it is called. I love that bar. And we're always good music. We're always just
mhm.
like, "Man, imagine just playing this, like, at work."
Yeah,
Like, I know, like, it would literally change the whole
the whole
space.
vibe, yeah.
And then we just started going on that tip of how much we love hip hop, and then, we're like, "Man, like, imagine we could just play, like, Infamous, like, front to back at the brewery one night," and be like, "Man, that would, like, literally be that would be, like, my I would do that once a week. I'd do, like,
Mhm,
Mobb Deep Mondays." And then it just turned into this talk of like, man, like imagine just like full discographies. Imagine like a theme brewery. Like, yo, what if there was like a hip hop brewery? And we're like, shit, that's a really cool idea. And then just kind of forgot about it, fizzed off. But then I got fired, Colin quit, um, you know, and it just kinda happened really quickly. I mean,
mhm.
it's one of those things, it's so cliche, but, like, you have these dreams and, like, these ideas that you don't really think are possible, but you kinda have to kickstart things once, like, life gets really real,
Yeah.
and you have to kinda center in on, like, "Yo, what do I actually wanna do with my life?" And that was one of the more important conversations that I ever had. I always went back to that, and I
Mhm,
talked to Colin, and I was like, "Yo, what if we, like, for real do this? Like, I don't know what your plans are.
mhm,
I got a baby on the way." He was like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about getting married," and I was like, "Well, what do you like, what do we think we wanna do
mhm.
as fathers?
As
Like,
people,
what do we
yeah.
wanna make a living as in the future?" And he's like, I am kinda curious of looking for a space." I said, "Honestly, bro, this is how much I got.
Mm,
Let's just start looking." Literally, after Colin left the brewery, we got the keys 6 months later.
damn.
We started looking aggressively. It was really hard to find something, and, it just kinda snowballed from there. But it was all based on an idea of, like, what if we just played our favorite music?
I think the part where you talked about, like, you getting fired and that being, like, the start of, like, you thinking, "Okay, like, what am I gonna
Oh,
do?"
man, yeah.
I think that's such a like, an inflection point for so many people, like, even me starting this radio show, like, went through a breakup, and that was, like this was, like, the next thing I did right away,
Yeah.
and I think about it where I had this whole document and folder with, like, all of these cool table ideas and
Mm.
graphics that I was kinda sitting on, like,
Yeah.
you guys talked about it before, and then once that thing happens, you're like, "Okay, we're making this happen." So it's like, what were the first, I guess, ideas that you guys had after you had a spot? Because to me, that spot will always be Laylow to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they're doing there now,
I mean, it's weird. I mean, it is weird driving by.
but
But
it's
yeah.
like I'll always be like, "There's
Yeah,
Laylow."
there's, like, some, like, pixie dust, like, every time I drive by, I'm like, "Shit,
A little
it's
smoke.
crazy." Yeah, a little weed smoke in the air. Yeah, everything about that place was so organic, man. We never
Mhm,
had a real plan. The real idea was, selfishly, let's just make a place for our homies.
mhm,
A great place for an excuse to all of us get together, and more so with our, like, age grouping, like, I mean, I'm 40 this year, but, I mean, 10 years ago, I was 30 when we were
mhm.
opening, and, it was like, we like going out, but we didn't like going out out. So we
Yeah,
were always
yeah.
like, "We just need, like, a chill spot. What could we do to, like, not blast music, but play,
Mm,
like, new shit that we like and old stuff, like Little Brother and Foreign
mhm,
Exchange, and, like, just have, like, a good vibe." So we were just starting the space off basic with just let's just make some playlists. I'll bring my records in. We'll just
Mhm.
listen to good tunes. And then the flip side was we're gonna introduce people to like cool Belgian world beers.
Yeah.
So like we weren't making beer. That was not even a plan.
Oh, wow.
We had no idea we'd be making beer. Um, we just started with like, go to LCBO and like let's get the coolest shit we can find. And
Yeah.
let's just like introduce our friends to like dope beer that like exists. And then we would try getting like, anyone we met in the industry while we worked at those other breweries, we'd be like, can we carry your beer? Like, let's try to carry people who actually
Mhm.
link up and we actually respect and we want to work with them.
Yeah.
It wasn't till, like, later, like, the space started to evolve, the room started to
Mhm.
shift, like, the paintings like, the walls started to be painted, and then, like, we had all of our friends who were, also, like, invested in the city and, like, what
Mhm.
the idea of what we were doing, everyone was on board with. So
I think you guys had that, um, I guess, that energy from the beginning of, like, people buying in, and especially the artwork on the wall, like, I think that was a big part of, like,
huge.
the vibe matches what we're going for, like
It's the tone setter, right?
yeah.
Like, Brian Espiritu, Legends League,
Mm.
like, just painting that wall, the first wall was like a, "Oh, shit.
No,
This
that
is this already feels special now."
and you know when you come in because I think about the times when I've been to Laylow, it's like you head in there and you were like, okay, this is not gonna be the regular of what going
Yeah.
out is. And so, was there anything that you guys changed at the beginning? Because that's something I'm so curious about. Because you had this idea, you had this vision, like, okay, we're gonna have a place that plays cool music, put people on some cool beers. But does anything change in that first like year or so where you're like, maybe we gotta pivot how we think of this?
I mean, a lot of the changes were essentially just, like, trial and error.
Hmm.
So a lot of things would be like, "Oh, do we wanna do this theme? Do we wanna try this out?" But truthfully, like, anything that didn't work, we just took down or, like, painted over it or,
Hmm.
if there was something that didn't sell well or but the idea, I mean, that hip hop community was like what we based it on. It never
Hmm.
left. It was like for the dancers, the MCs, the creatives, the painters. It was like
Hmm.
literally like that was all we really wanted. We just wanted to be in that ecosystem and make it a place where we could just talk shop.
Hmm.
So that never changed. Everything else was just kind of evolving. I just don't think we ever really peaked until those last, you know,
Hmm.
I'm gonna say like 9 months where it's like this is legit actually
Yeah.
happening. Um, but it took a long time, and like anyone else who's trying to start a business, especially a restaurant, I mean, it's strenuous. It's just so hard to like figure out what people want. Um, but you just stay true to the course, and it will work. But it takes a long time to get to that point. And you just gotta adapt to, the city changes, the people change, things, sounds change, you know. If anything, it just got elevated. I never wiped anything out, but
Hmm.
everything just kept elevating. So, like, I liked having DJs. Now I wanna do bills with DJs.
Hmm.
After that, it evolved to, like, live music. I was like, "Yo, I want a jazz night now."
Hmm.
And then it became, like, I wanna make a shirt for anniversary now, and then it
Hmm.
became a clothing line.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, and then the beer was like, we just wanted to sell cool beer. Then Colin's like, "I think I can make beer."
Yeah, that's my next question because you guys calling yourself the Toronto's smallest brewery.
Yeah,
I thought that was so funny.
we had to coin it.
And the little pot on the stove
Yeah.
that's that big the
It was
brewery.
crazy. It was like a 100-liter pot, and, I mean, it was in the kitchen on the
Hmm.
stovetop, and people were like, most of the time, people forgot we even made it,
Hmm.
and then, yeah, they'd ask for a tour, and we just jokingly be like, I mean, you can pop your head in the kitchen, and it's just there's just
This is a tour. Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
It's like, "Okay, you seeing it?" But yeah, it was different. I mean, Colin was brewing, not at where we worked, but
yeah.
he
Hmm.
brewed at home as a home brewer,
Hmm.
and we knew a lot of people in the game, so he was just really curious to try it. And, we met, this guy, Brandon Judd, who's a head brewer at Aveling Brewery in the East End of Toronto, and he helped us kinda curate and create this, like, makeshift, kinda jazzed up homebrew system,
Hmm.
like a micro nano brewery almost. Um, so we would brew 1 beer, we called it Once Again. It was just a joke, we've never done it before, we call it Once Again, which was a shout to Tribe, and then, It sold out, like, immediately. It was a pale ale,
Oh shit.
and, I told Colin, like, 2 days later, I'm like, "Yo, those 3 kegs are gone." And he's like, "It's been 3 days." I'm like, "Yeah, but bro, no one wants to drink anything but our beer." He's like, "Shit, maybe I can make, 2." So I was like, "Let's try 2." I said, "We have 6 taps," and it just each month, year, Colin was like, "I think if I plan this out properly, we could have 6 beers on tap all the
Oh
time."
wow.
And, man, that just sparked so much, and I think that really created a true identity for the brand because we were naming beers after, like, this hip hop nerdum shit. Like, no some
Yeah.
people had no idea what we were talking about.
Yeah. It's
The
like
only
if
real
you know,
ones
you
knew,
know. Yeah.
and then even when we re-released the beers during COVID, we, like, branded them towards those references, so now
Hmm.
it even became even more nostalgic,
Yeah.
and even that alone was, like we were turning non-beer drinkers into beer drinkers just because they had, like, a Pharrell reference, like
Yeah.
Neptunes or a De La Soul sticker, and they're like, "Oh, I'm getting this," and it was just like, "Yo, this is actually that conversation we had years ago.
Mm.
This is now, I think, what we didn't know we wanted to get here, but
Hmm.
this is actually what we should be doing."
I think what ended up happening is it almost was like a sense of pride of like, okay, if you love hip hop, this is where almost like that phrase that BTS have, this is where hip hop lives. Like this is like that was where it wasn't. I think about some of the events I've had been to there and the convos I had. It's like I had some of the like most profound like hip hop
Man, it's
conversations,
so good.
and it's funny because in a sense they could happen anywhere. Like you know, what I'm saying I don't need to be in
No, for
Laylow
sure.
to
No,
have this conversation,
absolutely not.
but there was just something about the energy that kind of fostered.
It poked it a little bit. You're just like,
Yeah.
Man, like, I don't know. Does anyone just wanna argue about something right now? Like, what album is better? Like, who
Hmm.
is your favorite MC? Who is the top 5?
Like that, and I think it fostered that because I feel like you talking about going out, you can't do that going out,
No, it's too much yelling and
and why I thought of that is because, especially with my friends and my cousins, like we're all big hip hop heads,
yeah.
so it's like we might go out to like I don't know a club or wherever and dance, and once we leave at 12:31, we're not going to bed till 2:30 because we're
You're
arguing
arguing. You guys won't stop talking. No one can
what's the
say goodbye either.
what's the best little Wayne verse ever, you know? And so it's like in a sense, almost that is like the after party. You know,
Yeah,
like someone else after party, like they want to like hang out and like listen to party next door. Like
exactly.
our after party is like arguing who is the best
And we were
verse.
kinda that conduit. Like,
Mm,
people showed up at Laylo at, like, no later than 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then we'd be there till 3 in the morning having these
mhm,
arguments and conversations every night. But I don't know, it just, like, every time it did happen, it just felt like it was supposed to happen. It felt like we were really doing something that was needed by the culture.
mhm,
Like, hip hop felt alive in that space. It was really cool to just eventually, like, every artist, even, like, people I idolize and look
mm,
up to and musicians that I've always wanted to meet, like, it opened so many doors for me too, and
mhm.
it's just crazy. It's so cliche, like Field of Dreams, like if you build it, they will come. But it
Actually,
actually really happened. Like it did its work by itself. All we did was just push the narrative for ourselves. Just
mhm,
like, no, it's beer and hip hop and friends. That's it. That's the whole point of the spot. And then I just like Shad would show up, Kid
yeah,
and Sweatman would show up, you know, Benzo, like all
mhm.
like the OG b-boys. I was just like, what's happening? This is crazy.
Do you have a favorite performance that comes to mind that when you were like, oh my, I'm like proud that we did this here. Like,
Man, God, there were so many. Um, One of my favorite hands down performances was we decided one year we were going to celebrate Dilla, but we were going to
mhm,
do it for an entire week. So we had a Dilla themed week for his anniversary. But the last night was Reverse.
mhm,
And they did this like epic 2-3 hour like Dilla collaboration live. It's just all instrumentation,
mhm.
and the room performed.
Oh wow,
So everyone's just rapping, singing, throwing out all
that's
the little like moments that
ad
are in the songs, the
libs.
ad libs, and everyone's like bigging up everybody. And it was so hard to concentrate and pour drinks because it was just it was so magical. I remember that perfectly. That
That's
was
pretty.
hands down one of my
That's
favorites.
pretty lit, and it's like that being a moment that we're talking about is like one of the best moments.
Yeah.
Almost speaks to what you guys did because, first of all, like the amount of people who are watching this who are born in like 2005 and don't even know who Dilla
No,
is,
I know.
and then to have it be like a room full of people who know who Dilla
And that
is.
was so satisfying, like, just knowing, like, I say this all the time to
Mhm.
people, like, we are such a group of, like, loners in a sense, like, hip hop was, like, on some geek shit
Yeah.
for so long, like, we were looking for, like, cassettes, CDs, like, vinyls, new equipment to spin and, like, everyone's backpacking, and it's like, we all found each other in these concerts, in these, weird basements, and, like, people just playing beats, and I don't know, it was like you couldn't find it I couldn't find it, like, at that
Mhm.
point in my life, so it was kinda cool to just be like, "Fuck it, let's
Build it.
just build it."
Yeah, and I like a lot. And it's like to have that be what you intended actually coming to pass.
Yeah.
Very, very rare. And I guess people are probably wondering, what have you guys been doing since the physical spot closed down? Like, I think that's something that I, I remember when, like, I didn't even know that you guys were closing down until like 2 days before.
Oh, shit.
So, like, I think the last show I went to was that showcase Burma had with all the DJs.
Yep, that was one of the last, like, releases, I guess, yeah?
And yeah, I remember like finding out that week because Burma was on the show,
Yeah,
told
yeah.
me, and I was just so dumbfounded. And the people who were in my life who were like talking about being upset about it, I was like, "What you know about Laylo?
Ah.
What you know about hip hop?" And so to see that was kind of the click to me of like, okay, like this is not just me,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean? Like this is clearly affecting a lot of people. So I think a lot of those people want to know what you guys have been up to.
I mean, like, directly after, I had, like, a wall of fatigue. I don't know, like, how I got through that last month because I booked something every day.
Yeah, that was a crazy calendar y'all
Every
had.
day. It was like 30 it was, well, end of November-ish to end of December, so it was about 30 days of programming.
Madman.
I did not miss a night. I was like, "This is my baby. I am not like, I will not miss a single night here. I don't care if, like, it's Tuesday and it's like,
Mhm.
we got a DJ booked. I don't give a shit. We're gonna be here. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna stay late every night, and we're gonna make sure everyone gets as much Laylo as they can before it's gone." But, I hit major fatigue, and it slapped me, I think I did Christmas Eve with my family, and
Mhm.
the very next day, I was just dead, I could barely move. Like, when you watch, like, time lapse of shit all the time?
Mhm.
We have this time lapse of Christmas morning, and the kids are like, if you watch it, they're just, go gif, like, moving.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm just, like, on the couch like this, and I don't move the whole time, and it's one of my favorite videos of ever. I'm just completely gone. I'm just like, "Oh, like, I'm dead." Uh, but yeah, after the fatigue and, the rest, we immediately planned to brew. So
Mhm.
we were poised to essentially get our beer out immediately. There was always a game plan. So when we decided we were gonna close, we kinda thought about that during COVID, and then we
Mhm.
just kinda prolonged it a little bit more because we were waiting for the right price essentially, and
Mhm.
we kinda knew what the building and the space was worth, so we really wanted to just stick to our guns on that. But, we also needed to know that we had enough money to
Mhm.
produce a mass production of beer,
Mhm.
and also have a little left over to do something with it, like, in the next regard with, merch, collaboration, and events. So
Mhm.
we've brewed our first can with, Abilene Brewery, which is in the East End. We did a ton of beer. They're in
Nice
about
and cold.
16 bars in the city right now. We're still, like, literally selling. Yeah, give that. That's a nice one. And
Oh,
it sounds good too.
that
I have to
ASMR.
do that with you too. But this is a Belgian golden ale. Cheers, bro.
Everyone who saw me drink tea in the club the last
Ah!
few weeks, this is only for Laylo, okay?
Hey, respect.
Not none of y'all gonna get me to
I
to
could do, like,
drink.
a beer float here or something, like, maybe we
Oh,
could
true.
pump that up.
Little float there. Yeah, but so yeah, that was the plan you guys had before, and then after it's just brewing.
Brew the beer, and then once it's been all out, now you're gonna start seeing the rollout of collaboration with all of the spaces that are carrying our beer.
Mhm.
So now, like, we just had an event at Tapestry in Kensington. We did one at It's Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have one coming up with Little Jerry at the end of the month, La Piscina. And it's just like a lot of outdoor jams. They already carry the beer.
Mm-hmm.
It's more just about an excuse for the Laylow community to get back together,
Mm-hmm.
show love to another venue. Um, so yeah, it's kinda dope. It's like, forever we were kinda showcasing artists and, other events and follow all these DJs. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
kind of just showcasing the venues and the other entrepreneurs who are running their spots. Like, we don't want their spots to go away. So it's kinda fun. It's a different way of looking at it, but, the beer is the vessel, and it allows us to do everything else we really wanna do.
Have you guys talked at all about another venue, another home?
I mean, I would love to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Colin, my partner, would be skeptic, but I think what we would like to try to do is open a shop.
Mm-hmm.
I think a Laylo shop would make way more sense
Yeah.
financially, and also we'd be able to basically almost turn into like a food court with
Mm-hmm.
not food, but everyone's vinyl, everyone's artwork. A DJ playing a set once in a while. There's like a tap room or maybe just a fridge for to-go beers,
Mm-hmm.
selling books on hip hop, photography, just like a bit of everything. Um, and I can just close at a normal hour and not be there till 3 or 4 in the morning every night. Um,
And I think you can still have the vibe because I think
I think we
about
could.
like are talking a lot right now about having a third home. You have where you go to work,
Yeah,
your actual home, and the pandemic took a lot of people's third home
for
away.
real.
And I think Layla was a lot of people's third home. And like I'm a big vinyl collector, and whenever I go to play the record,
Mm,
like the chance of you having some inconspicuous music conversation with someone is
it's pretty
extremely
high.
high. Yeah, and it's like that's almost part of why
Yeah.
you go instead of ordering online. Like when I was there last, me and this dude were talking about our love for Jill Scott, and he had this whole bit about how Jill Scott is cooking him banana bread when he gets home, and it's like as silly as that is, like that's why you have these third homes where, okay, we both love music, we both love Jill Scott, so I can understand why this is something.
Yeah,
What I'm saying? And I feel like having a physical space creates that because I think it's like this. You're gonna bring up certain things in this physical space that you're like, okay, I know that if you're in here,
yeah.
you know, no, I can bring up what's your favorite,
You can
gangstar
literally
song.
stare them down too. It's like, all right, man. You're like, all right, do you like this track?
Yeah, a
Oh, do
hundred.
you know this one? And then that's when then the fun starts. Then it's like, do you mind if I plug in the aux? I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yes, and now let's see what you're really
It's
about.
really fun, and I mean,
Mm,
that's a great way to meet
mm,
somebody, man. In general, like just to start a friendship like that, and to have that kind of camaraderie of being able to be open to other styles, to be open to
mhm.
other MCs. Just like to have that. It's not like we're debating Mike and LeBron here. It's like we're debating
Yeah,
like true art, and it's like it's really fun to just once you put your guard down and it becomes like this space of like safety of just like,
mhm.
actually, you know what? I really like this music too, but I've never felt good enough to actually say it in front of everybody or something. It's like actually I fuck with R&B a lot. I'd
Yeah,
like to tell you more about R&B. It's been like kind of it started as hip hop, but the room became just a music vessel, right?
mhm.
Any element of hip hop that was available, it was kind of the topic of appreciation.
And getting put on, like, I think because you guys played like a certain type of music, like these are songs you're not hearing in Urban Outfitters. You
No
know what I
way.
mean? So it's like you're gonna hear songs that you wouldn't have heard otherwise for a certain person. And I gotta give you guys some credit,
Mm.
okay, personally, because I took someone there. I don't want to say it's a date because we were seeing each other for a while, but I took someone there. We were there for an event, and she was impressed.
Oh,
She
okay.
she liked the art. She liked the vibe.
We usually pay attention to who's in the room.
Mhm. And I said, yeah, I'm super cool. Look how cool Laylo is. I'm super cool. So you guys did give me a couple of points there. I want to talk about the event we have coming up
Dope. Yes, we
because
should.
June 8th at Cameron House,
June 8, June 8.
our first CMW show. The Cool Table has not done a live show. Well, it's not true. We did episode 200, which was more like a live broadcast. This is a real live interview. We haven't done one of these in 4 years.
That's crazy.
So we're pretty excited for that. But I want to talk a bit about Day King because I think this is like the hidden gem of this show.
I do too.
And she's going to be opening up, so I encourage everyone to show up on time
Please.
to catch that. But please tell us a little bit about Day King.
Day King is unfortunately she missed the Laylow boat. We actually met after Laylow closed.
Damn.
Another beautiful thing about Laylow that I love is I've always approached by artists.
Mhm.
I'd like to play a show, or my friend played it last week. How do I get a gig? She found us because we were closing, and literally, like I was telling you, like
Mm.
that last month, like we had so much talent
Yeah.
every night. It was like almost impossible. If you were an artist in Toronto,
Mhm.
someone posted our feed. Like someone
Yes.
posted and tagged us, and we were in someone else's feed. So she reached out and she's like, "Hey, like I know you post a lot of artists.
Mhm.
Mind listening to my music?" I'm like, Of course."
Mhm.
I heard it, and I mean, I tell you all, like, if you like Snow Allegra or like Amy Winehouse, Lauryn Hill, um, you want to come listen to Day.
Yeah.
It's one of those like it's wholesome. It's
Mhm.
wholesome, good music. And she's prepping for her EP to be released in the next coming months. Um, yeah, like I'm thrilled because now between the three of us,
Mhm.
it's already like reminding me of what Layla was to me, and
Mhm.
like it's nice to know like it's this kind of manner of operating still works without my brick and
Yes.
mortar. Um, so yeah, like I'm here.
Mhm.
This is dope. Like Day's performing at it.
Mhm.
Day and I are collabing on a T-shirt for her
Mhm.
merch for that show. She's a great
That's gonna be
painter,
lit.
so we got a really beautiful tee coming out for that event. And yeah, like follow her, New
Mhm.
Day Music at New Day. And yeah, she's got one single out, but the EP is gonna be amazing. And I've actually introduced her to more Laylo family. So I have
Yes.
people mastering at the moment. So
Mhm.
it's very exciting.
Yeah, I think what you said about Laylow family is something that's gonna like be around without the brick and mortar. Like that's not
Yeah.
going anywhere. Her sound is like so full, I call it, and warm.
Yeah. It's
Um,
very church. Like there is some church vibes there too,
yes,
which is really beautiful.
very soulful.
Yeah, it's soulful. Thank you. But yeah, it's dope. I'm really happy that we were able to get her on this bill
Mhm.
because it's Canadian Music Week. It's a big deal.
No, it's for 100% a big deal. And I think one thing that this community that you've built is growing is like the people that you have in it and how they feel about it. I
Yeah.
remember watching you guys lay low doc like about a year ago,
Mm.
and I remember seeing like people I knew in the doc and being like, "Words, like you
Yeah.
know Dan too, you know Dan too,"
Yeah.
and the energy they're talking about it with, it was like, "Hey, this is clearly deeper than just this is a cool place for us to hang." And
Yeah.
I think that that energy is clearly going past the actual brick and mortar, but I think that that energy is clearly felt in the stuff that you guys do. So I'm honestly excited for what you guys have coming in the future.
Yeah.
I think that this is a like a great time. Like I
It's
obviously the
been waiting for summer. I mean, really waiting for summer. Like it's beer
mhm.
drinking season. Music just feels better this time of year.
Yeah, yeah. You guys stand for good music. Like I feel like if you like good music, this is a place for you. Now I have a couple questions that I'll ask everybody on the show, and we're gonna get to those in a second before we wrap up. But we have to do a top five.
Mm.
We have to do a top
Oh
five.
shit.
You don't leave this table without doing a top five,
My
okay?
God. Of what?
Now,
Wrestlers?
that's not a bad one. That's not a bad. You can't pick new school though. No Bobby Lashley.
No,
Um,
come on.
but I want to do a top five MCs. I know top five
Mm.
MCs, but I want your personal top five,
Okay, of course.
not who you think is the best. What's a great answer? So I'm gonna give some of my favorites,
Okay, that'd be helpful. I like
and
to hear your the perception of it too.
okay, so some of my favorites, and this is in no order. Okay, first one, Big Boy from Outkast.
Ooh,
Anyone
yeah.
who doesn't know Big Boy from Outkast, his solo work
What's
incredible.
the Sir
Oh,
Vicious
Sir Lucius Left Foot,
that album was great.
yeah. So Big Boy
Slept
from
on.
super slept on. He's done work with Fantagram. He worked with a lot of indie artists.
Yeah.
So he's the one I think people gotta tap in on, especially because I think now hip hop has grown past the traditional hip hop sound.
Yeah,
where people are into other music more than they were before, and he does a great job of blending those. So
he credits his children actually for that.
that makes a lot of
They
sense.
brought home Fantagram. Like, that was like, "What's
Ah,
this?" And then, "You should dad, you should work with them." And he's like,
wow.
"Alright, I'll check 'em out."
That makes sense because yeah, they do a lot of great stuff together. Secondly, Wiz Khalifa.
Word.
That's an obvious one, a living legend for sure.
Yep.
With the one thing about Wiz, I've seen him I think 2 or 3 times live. The one thing about Wiz is he has way more hits than people realize.
Yeah.
The first time I saw him, I was with a couple of friends who aren't really hip hop fans. My friend, she'd won tickets on the radio, so she brought us,
Right.
and she was like, I knew like half the songs,
That's crazy. I mean, I
and
don't even like, I know Wiz, but I don't, like, know deep catalog.
yeah, so it's like he's one of those where it's like you think you don't know, and then you see him live, and you're like, oh, I actually know most of these songs.
Wild.
And a low key a spitter. I think
Yeah.
it's funny because
Flow, great flow.
yeah, he's not known as a spitter, but if you compare him to what's going on right now, him
Could
and
probably murder a lot of these guys,
yeah, he
honestly.
toe to toe with a lot of these guys. And then last but not least, this is someone who not a low key rapper at all.
Yeah.
J. Cole.
Oh, Cole's crazy, man.
Yeah, J. Cole is one of the best. I still think that no one can really rap with J. Cole. You can rap maybe as good as him, but better than him, I don't think is really a thing. And I'm still listening to Might Delete Later all the time. So
Man,
those are my three.
I mean, I love that project.
Yeah,
And I've been going back to it constantly,
same.
since all of the brouhaha. But yeah, that he always to me, he always comes out the winner, man.
No, he is not flopped at any point, and
Yeah.
he's actually one of those artists who I think is gonna age so good
Oh, he'll
because
do it gracefully, absolutely.
when you listen to like I listened to some songs off KOD the other day,
Yeah.
and like these are songs we've basically all forgotten about. It's one of his most forgotten albums.
Oh, but like
And when you
that
hear
Kevin's
those,
Heart track, that song runs free in my mind for no
yeah,
reason.
and it's like you hear those songs and you're like, he is saying something and he is spitting. So
Yeah.
big love to J. Cole.
No, he's definitely all that stuff made me just realize
Mm.
he is like I like him way more than Kendrick and Drake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're doing a top 3.
Well, you're gonna do 5.
Goddamn.
I'm not the guest here, so you're gonna
Okay.
do 5. But this is your favorite 5, not who you think is the best rapper,
Yeah.
but your favorite 5.
My number 1 from day one has always been Black Thought from The Roots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I heard him for the first time, very young, I mean, that just changed my personal view of just music in general. I
Mhm.
mean, hearing The Roots live with an MC like that who was just bugging out on any, like, change or switch up in the songs, and that was cold, like, to begin with.
Yeah.
Now you watch him on, like, Jimmy Fallon, I mean, he's literally like a robot just spitting out shit, like, constantly.
Oh my god, I've seen videos of the sets that he does where he'll rap over like an entire album. Have you seen those?
Yeah, he doesn't stop.
It's like
I just read his book too, and
Uh-huh.
it's phenomenal. I mean, his life is crazy. I had
Mhm.
somewhat of an idea, but wow, like if anyone has a chance to read that book, it's the Upcycled Life, I think it's called. Incredible.
I'm adding it to my Goodreads. But
I killed
continue.
it. I read it in Cuba in like 3 days. It's not a long read. It's made for people like myself. And then 2, I gotta say, um, I am a pretty diehard Tribe fan. I can't. It's like so hard to say fight for Tip, but like if I have to, I'll say Tip just because hearing him even featured on tracks was such a big deal to me. I really
Mhm.
loved Q-Tip as a kid. I still do, and now he's in heavy in production. But Tip was always. I love unique voices. Like anyone that just stands out from a very vast style of music. Like if you can be different, I mean, if you can just have something different to your voice to switch it up, it separates you from the pack. And there's nobody that sounds like Tip. Maybe Magoo.
Yeah, that's it. But I think Tip is one of the people who I've tried to show my younger brother. He's 10 years younger than me because I think that if you weren't there,
I know it's crazy.
you're kind of like, what's so special about him?
I know,
And
right?
I he's one of the people that I'm happy you brought him up because I think he's one of the people where it's like, again, if you're not there, you're kind of being like, he's kind of rapping slow, like he's not that lyrical. And it's like, it's almost like an undescribable magic he has that
It's
makes
just
him so
different.
good.
Yeah. He's just different. Um, Then I would have to say Wu-Tang was huge, so I have to say Meth, because Meth was just a
Mm,
big voice for me, and he was like a fucking superhero too. Method Man for sure. Um, that's like high school days for me. I mean, that's like the pinnacle of like love and rap.
mhm,
Like just anything they dropped, and then his solo career was great. His features are great. I mean, now when he raps, he doesn't even he's claimed he doesn't have to swear anymore. So now
mhm.
he's just dropping just straight gems on everybody. Um, and again, different voice, got the rasp. It's kind of like mellow, but he can just I don't know. I love him in Red. I'm a big group person, right? Like I love groups.
Groups are dead though.
I know it's
Like,
not it's unfortunate.
but groups were. To me, I thought groups were the best hip hop
Yeah,
because it was more concentrated. It's
yeah.
like a lot of these guys, it's like they might not have 3 fire verses, but if they got
But
to
back
do a
and
16
forth,
or back and forth,
share the track. I mean, I love that shit. That's why I love De La and
mhm,
Tribe and Beastie Boys and Farside,
yeah,
like, Slum Village, all those guys.
little brother.
Little Brother, man, I just watched that doc. It is
I just watched it too.
unbelievably good.
Crazy.
Ah, yeah, they were amazing. So yeah, that's 3. Um, I probably have to say, not necessarily anymore. What I am excited about this project coming out, but Common was a very big deal to me growing up.
I used to love
And I really
Common.
like to focus on like the guys that like really made a true influence on the way I listen to music and
Mhm,
what I looked for. Because Common was working with the best producers, first of all,
mhm.
and now he's got a project with Pete Rock coming out
Yeah.
on Friday, which is
They just put a
huge.
single out,
They
right?
put the single out, but the whole thing's coming out, I believe, this Friday. Um, yeah, man, like Water for Chocolate and you know, Can I Borrow a Dollar?
Mhm.
The B album, like, they're all
Yeah.
good. They're all
Ye
good, and, like, I understand some people find it, like, it can get a little monotone once in a while.
I don't think
I don't
so.
think so at all. I literally am always spitting with them.
Yeah.
I like the verse.
Yeah, like, "I Used to Love Her" is probably the song I would use to save my life.
Oh, for
Like, if I
sure.
needed one song, it's like yeah, Common is one of those artists who I don't understand the hate he gets because people have called him corny,
It's 'cause he, like, went into
and,
acting, it's like, give him a break. So he likes incense, like,
uh,
shit.
I I interviewed him, last year for Silo,
Yeah.
and literally the same dude you like
You expect him to
the
be.
same dude you expect him to be,
Yeah.
and I think that, like, he was probably one of the first rappers to be like, "I don't have to be tough." And I
Yeah.
think there's a freedom in that a lot of people don't see. But he was like, I already rap better than all you guys. I don't need to be tough on top of it. I can be a nice guy and still rap
Yeah.
better than you.
Yeah, but I mean, he can. But hit like Resurrection, like that whole
Mhm.
album, like it was a tough record.
Yeah.
And Can I Borrow a Dollar? So
Yeah.
like he went through his whatever phase.
Yeah. Yeah. He
But
was
like
that guy. Yeah.
Evolution, like come on, man, get like
Mhm.
just getting better, like literally just becoming yourself,
And he's still nice. Like
and he's still nice with it.
I see clips from him like freestyling on stage from 2023.
Yeah,
Still got it. Still with the crowd control. Still with the breath control.
yeah. You know
Like
he's gonna do a LA Leakers or whatever soon too for this
oh
record. You know he's gonna go off.
yes
Like it's just a
yes.
matter of time
I'm excited to see that.
with his whatever you call it, the Palo Santo burning in his hand on fire. And then I got one more. Shoot, one more, which is always the hardest one. But I always just try to reflect on the people that mean the most to me, and then the ones that like have that influence. So I probably have to say Mos Def.
Yeah.
And I know it's not a. I always say this. I know it's not a deep catalog,
Mhm.
but man, if he just kept going the way he was, like if you do Black on Both Sides, like that is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's like basically saying who's your top 5 female MCs or
Mhm.
artists.
Yeah.
I would say Lauryn Hill, but it's like one project.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's still Lauren.
I think Black on Both Sides stands with Miseducation.
100%.
Yeah, like
That's like one of my all-time favorite records.
he's if we're doing a list of people I wish put out more music,
Big
he
time.
is
I
especially because I say this before, like to me, I give him and Fonte the credit for the singing rapping
yeah.
more than Kanye. Because
Yeah.
if you hear the parts where he's singing on Black on Both Sides, it's so like smooth and flawless that you're not like, who's singing?
No, it's
It
nice.
just flows, and he flows between the two of them So easily.
The only other people, like, I would say that are, like, most influential
Mhm.
would be the Far Side, who I've probably
Yeah.
seen the most of all hip hop groups live,
Mhm.
and Slim Kid was, like, that introduction of singing,
Yeah.
like, in and out, dope flow, and just being able to, like, go back and forth was, like, one of those things. But yeah, Fonte is on my
Mhm.
list. Like, he's not my top 5, but
Mhm.
he's literally number 6. He's gotta be my 6th man.
Now your 5 is strong. You had Math.
So the Black Thought, Meth, Mos Def, Q-Tip, and, did I say Mos?
Yeah, who's your you had a group, I think.
Oh, yeah, well, I said Tip. So I said,
Tip, Thought, Math. Who are
Black
we
Thought,
forgetting?
Tip, Method Man, uh, Mos
Common.
Def, and Common.
That 5 is going toe to toe.
It's very, it's very like Soulquarians with a little with Method Man, essentially. I
No,
mean, I was such a
100%.
neo soul kid, and
Yeah.
truthfully couldn't hide the fact that I loved R&B as much as hip hop my whole life.
Mhm. But that 5 is going toe to toe with a lot of people. I think that's like I think everyone in that 5 has a classic.
Yeah,
Everyone in that 5 could really, really rap.
and two of them can really hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Like three of them could probably make you feel okay. Like,
Mhm.
oh, thanks, man, for not going so hard on me. And then Meth and Black Thought would just be like, "What'd you say your name was?"
And I think that 5 aged the best because that 5 is all 90s.
It's true.
And
I'm
that,
not a big new age guy either. Like, I love
eh,
Cole. Again,
mm,
I love Cole. I would say Cole is probably my favorite of the
mm,
new age and of the new age
yeah, yeah.
artists.
But there's not that many like Cole.
No.
Like
Oh, I like Joey,
Joey.
and I think Joey's best work is still coming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Joey's in an interesting spot because he's like still cool to the young kids, but he's not at all making that kind of music.
No,
Mm.
I think he is meticulously playing the game right now.
He's doing well.
Yeah, I think he will
Mm,
start making music he wants to make soon,
mm.
but I do think he's like he knows what he's supposed to do to just bring in that capital,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah.
not a diss to him at all. I think it's genius because I listen to some of his music, and I'm
Mm.
like, I get it. This record's not for me because I'm there for 1999 and I'm there for Pro Era all the time.
2000 his last
2000 was amazing.
was
That was like, this is 1999.
that's probably one of the best like follow-ups to something I've
So
seen in
good.
so long.
We listened to that a
Mhm.
lot at work. Like, that was a record we rinsed
Now
constant.
that was and like when he did that cover of Show Me,
Yep.
I couldn't believe it because that's a song I showed my little brother.
Yep.
I put him on to Men I Trust, and um, I thought I had played the wrong album when the
Yo.
song started. I said, "Am I on the wrong album?" So to see how well he did with that, nah, Joey is. I think if when we do another interview, we gotta find a way to do a new school 5.
New School 5.
Yeah, I think
I
that
mean,
would be tough to do. Because I think even Joey and Cole are from a different era. Like I saw Joey live in 2013.
yeah, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
He's been around for a while. I mean, he's, yeah, one of their older heads now.
So I feel like it's tough to find a new because you know what like the issue with the new school and I'm gonna leave this here because I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like we're gonna go on a
I could
tangent.
do it.
But the issue with the new school is that what is considered good rapping
Yeah.
is so much lower.
Yeah,
And
the
I
bar is, well,
the bars on the floor. And I think about someone like Q-Tip. Like when I was growing up, Q-Tip wasn't known as like lyrical miracle spiritual. He was good,
yep.
but it wasn't like you wouldn't compare Q-Tip to Mos Def. They're
No.
like these are two different levels of rapping.
Yep.
Q-Tip now would be in the top 10%.
100%.
And like that is part of the issue when it's like there's someone like Lil Baby and everyone's like, no, he can really, really rap. It's like
Yeah.
he's good at what he does, but really, really rap is a stretch
There's also
beyond.
just like authenticity and,
Yeah,
you know, what's,
what is that?
yeah, exactly. I don't know. There are a lot of new cats though. I like
Mhm.
Coda the Friend. I like Marlon Craft.
Coda's nice.
I like Marlon
Marlon is
Craft.
nice too.
You know, who else is like new that's just like, you know, making waves? Like there are a few like
I like
MCs.
I like Davies, even though he's older. I like Davies.
Yeah,
Yeah, there are some. There are some.
there are a few. It's just,
Hmm.
yeah, it's very you gotta,
You gotta
you
know.
gotta care and you gotta want to search for it. I mean, that's the beauty of music. You gotta.
Mhm.
There are so many talented people out there. It's like, you know, even on the come up in our city.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot. This is a question that we ask everyone on the show, and I don't make the rules. I want to make that clear when I ask you this question. This is not coming from me. This is coming from the universe. This is
Yeah,
just
yeah,
me being a journalist gathering the information.
yeah,
Okay. So when people get $100 million,
yeah.
they get an exotic animal. That's just how the game goes.
Okay, you
Rite of
have to get
passage.
the animal.
That's how they behave. Okay.
Word. Yeah.
Mike Tyson with his tiger, Michael Jackson with his monkey, Justin Bieber with his monkey.
Yeah.
So when you get $100 million, what animal are you gonna add into your life?
Man. 100 mil. Is that the going rate for an animal?
It seems like that's what it is. Like once you get past that level, it's like, okay,
Oh shit.
let me get
Okay.
some.
Well, I'm trying to think of my kids and who they would have fun with.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
actually
yeah.
take some responsibility and because I don't want big shits. I don't want to have to pick up any shit.
It's fair.
So you know what? I'd probably get like a penguin and get a tank. I pay for the tank and maybe 2 penguins for like a jam. That'd be fun as hell, actually. And they can do any weather.
That's one of the better answers I've heard. I actually like that one a lot.
I go to the zoo a lot.
Kids love the zoo.
They love the zoo. You get that day pass. I want that sponsorship.
Yeah.
The zoo is amazing. The penguins for sure though, because they're entertaining. They're
Mhm.
adorable. Probably not that hard to take care of. I mean,
Mhm.
good movies.
Have you seen the movie Tusk?
No.
Chris, have you seen the movie Tusk? Oh my. Okay, so both of y'all write this down to see this movie because this is one of the same movies I've ever seen.
What is this?
But Tusk. Basically, this dude got lost at sea and this walrus saved his life.
What?
And he is basically a serial killer in the present and cutting off people's like arms and legs and putting them into like a walrus body. And they have to like be a walrus. It's way worse than I'm even explaining it.
What?
But it's a fucked up movie.
How old is this?
I think like 2015.
What the fuck?
And no, it's a wild movie. Like you see the person's like face in the like walrus body, and he takes out their tongue, and they have to like eat the like food a walrus eats.
Bro.
It is insane. The scene when the guy like finds out he's a walrus and wakes up from like all the shit he's been through, he like sinks to the bottom of the pool and sees like all the walrus carcasses from the other victims.
What's happening?
No, it's a fucked up movie. But I saw it, so
I thought you were gonna like bring up like an adorable animal movie. Talking about the kids. I was like, oh, Tusk sounds cute. Like, is it
You said zoo, and I thought of this zoo in his house.
Fuck.
So yeah, watch Tusk.
I have never heard of Tusk. Jesus.
Yeah, I recently watched it last week. Shout out to Sarah for putting me on, but
wow.
Because I went through that, I feel like we all have to go through it together. So add it to your list.
Appreciate that.
Tusk. Yeah, I'm here to help.
Yeah, man.
I'm here to help.
I'll check it.
Let's take a look at the ice cream. See where you're at with
I'm
that.
doing all right. I mean, it's mostly just melted at this point. I was gonna maybe pour a little beer in it just to see if I can get a float.
Yeah, I think you might as well. But you've made it pretty far. Like that's basically done.
Oh, it's done.
Look at that. Okay.
I just want to get the float. Yeah, it works. When was
Laylow,
the last time you had a float, man?
Laylow Eva float. Oh my god.
It's not bad, actually.
Not since I had a beard. I definitely didn't have adult teeth the last time I
did
had
not
a
either.
float.
I mean, a beer float.
Yeah, like oh my
Oh,
god.
it's actually really good. It's actually really good.
I'm happy that
It does taste good.
I'm happy you made it this far. I appreciate everyone for listening to the podcast. Find us on Instagram at The Cool Table Live, on YouTube at The Cool Table Live. Of course, the radio show is every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 12:80 a.m. in Toronto, CJTM, mentradio.ca. Before we get out of here, we have the segment on the radio show called Wednesday Wisdom. We ask for a motivational quote or saying either you remind yourself of or the people around you. So what's that saying for you that's just always kind of running through your head?
I had one guy say, I used to go to a summer camp when I was a kid, and he said it once, and I don't even know why. I don't even remember his name, but he said, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And it just was so simple, and I stick with me my whole life. Anytime I just kind of have a thought or like, well, I don't know if I can do it. I'm like, well, if you really want to do it, you gotta put in the effort.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to keep this train alive called Laylow, it's just me putting in the work every day. It's not a thing you can just expect to keep breathing by itself. You got to keep putting in work. If you want to see something out, you got to see it through to the very end. And that's the love of art and being creative, is that the job's never done. The job's not done. It's always if it's going to be, it's up to me.
I like that. If it's going to be, it's up to me. And I like the journey of you're talking about of like it continues. It's a job that's never done.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what I've seen a lot working with artists is it's almost like you think this is going to be this tape, this finish line. And
Yeah.
I try and remind artists, I said, whoever you think is the best at what they do is still doing it. There's the rare case of someone like Rihanna who just leaves music completely,
Yeah.
basically, just something else. But it's like Beyonce is still on tour, you know.
Yeah.
Celine Dion is still in Vegas. Like all the best
Yeah.
usually
It's
do it for a long
and they're
time.
like 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of everything else as well.
Mhm.
I think it's like with art in general, of any kind, whatever you release, once you let it out, it's kinda over for you specifically.
It's not yours anymore.
It's living on with other people, but for you, like, you'll be proud of it and you'll love it, but eventually you'll be like, I'm over it."
Mhm.
And it's now I wanna shift what I do, but I wanna make something I wanna change my path a little bit, or I wanna figure out how I can take what I did before, and I wanna how do I elevate it? How do I
Mhm.
make it a bigger thing? How do I make this piece bigger? You know, even songs, right? A track that goes out, man, the music game is so frustrating. It's like you can just have 1 track or you have, like, hundreds and you're just sitting on
Mhm.
them. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and it's that release, it's like it's not yours anymore. Allow it to be shared with the public.
Yeah,
Allow it to happen. Yeah, I think this whole journey of like making art and being someone who's involved with art in general is something that is ongoing, and your relationship with it is always going to change. And
100%.
that's something that I think I've had to like see myself, but looking at people who I either look up to or are very successful and seeing that like, look at LeBron in his 21st season, like he still has to find a way to enjoy.
Gotta wake up and love the game.
So yeah, I think about that a lot. I was like, this is not gonna end, but
Yeah.
it will get fun in a different way.
100%.
Mhm.
And then find other joys in life as well. Like, I think it's
Facts.
just finding those other creative vessels. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm still making music. I'm
Mhm.
producing and, recording with Junior T right now.
Mhm.
You know, it's like just it doesn't have to always be one thing. You can be a creative in any regard. I think it's
Facts.
just owning that word creative.
Yeah, yeah. This episode is for all the creatives. I want to thank you again for joining us. This has been an amazing episode. I hope to
Appreciate it.
see all of you June 8th at
June
Cameron
8th,
House,
baby.
Canadian Music Week. We have an
Everything Oshan.
amazing show for you. Everything Oshan, Day King, Jarrell, and a special guest. But until next time, know yourself, know your worth.